Um, not today,
Okay.
actually. I generally don't on the weekends unless I
I shaved because I went
have
to
to.
church.
Oh, well, see, that's when I would shave. I mean, I wouldn't just
You didn't go
normally.
to church today?
No, I did not.
Oh, you're going to hell.
That was
Goodness
quick.
known you.
That
Nice.
escalated quickly.
Everybody knows you don't go to church, go to hell.
Right.
Alrighty.
Still got a little bit of this cough. I think it's from I think allergies is so I went through from COVID. I think you're into allergies, and so I was trying to figure out what was going on. Had this little cough and stuff afterwards, and I think it's all related to the allergies.
Start
Last night,
popping the Allegra.
I know. Hey, last night I woke up. I guess my sinuses were draining or whatever. I know it sounds gross, but
Yes.
I woke up coughing so bad. I started to get it was like feedback almost, and I couldn't catch my breath. I kept coughing and coughing and coughing. I was like, "Oh my god!" I was getting scared there for a minute because I couldn't breathe. In between coughs. Nothing like waking up and that's the state you're in. You know, it was terrible.
I'm gonna die.
I had to go downstairs and sit down. I had to sit down on the couch for a little bit, and I would can't. It would still have that little fit. It was like coughing fit, and fine.
Hey, John Miller Jr.
It was terrible.
Peace, man.
So hopefully I got it under control now. I started taking my allergy stuff.
What do you take? Loratadine?
I mix it up. So Zyrtec and like in the spring, and then what's the other one? Zyrtec and what's that? I can't remember the name of it, but it's similar, but it's a different formula. Um, so yeah.
Gotcha. All right. Shall we begin?
Look, Michelle, Country Signs is in.
She's back. All right. 2 in a row.
Chuck has a background. Yes, he has a green screen and all that good stuff.
Haven't used it in a while. Thought it's time again. It's time.
Yeah. Hide the wall of CEOs.
Yeah, that's not really Technorama material there. That's work material.
Yeah.
I had the brick background up earlier, but I thought, no, I was going to load this one up and it was already there. So I said, hey, why
you can do some stand up?
I am standing up. As close to my stand up as I get. Or the brick walls for karaoke, too.
As a matter of fact, I think I'm going to stand up.
Oh, okay, ladies and gentlemen, wait for the exciting table rising ceremony.
Rise!
It actually makes it look like you're shrinking, Craig.
Yeah.
I told you that story about
Julie's perception. It's going too far. What's that?
When Julie was a child and we take her to work, we get in the glass elevator and we go from the first floor down to the basement, and she'd say, up, up, up. I'm like, what? This kid's backwards. And then we get to go home. We'd, get in the elevator and the elevator would go up and she'd go down, down, down. I said, my God, oh man, my child's backwards. She was watching the bricks on the window go by.
Oh yeah. I remember. Yes.
As you go up, the bricks go down. So yeah, that child was always, 1 or 2 dimensions ahead of me.
Yeah. Tell me about it. I know that feeling.
All right.
I know that feeling.
Should we start recording our podcast?
Sure.
Okay. In 3, 2. Oh, you can get rid of the pre-show thing then.
I will after I quit smiling.
3. Why are you smiling? We're already broadcasting.
Oh, I was waiting for the thumbnail. That's
hold that goofy expression the whole show.
I'll lose the expression.
At ease, soldier.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
5, 4, 3, 2. Technorama episode 686. It's impossible to put down. Hello and welcome to Technorama. This is the show that takes a lighthearted look at tech, science, sci-fi, and all things geek. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you are coming back, even if it's been on a hiatus and you haven't been here for, about 16 years, welcome back. We appreciate you giving us your time. My name is, I wasn't aimed at anybody.
No, I just thought it was funny. You said, yeah, well, anyway, never mind, go ahead.
We've been doing this for about 18, so why not?
Yeah.
My name is Chuck Tomasi from sunny Phoenix, Arizona, and joining me as always is Craig Stepp. How are you, Craig?
I'm doing good. I'm doing well. Actually, I'm feeling a lot better.
You sound better.
Oh, good, because I was getting worried there for a little while. Now I think allergy season's kind of settling in now, which is great. Something else, just pile it on, right?
You can come live here.
You don't have any foliage or anything there.
Well, we have a lot of dust.
Yeah.
A lot of desert dust. A lot of dust. So you wipe off the table, 2 days later, it's dusty again. Like,
I
I
know.
can't put my laptop on that.
I
You
was
hear this
telling
crunchy, scratchy sand on the table as you're going, "No,
right.
no."
I was telling somebody about your yard. I said it looked like one of those Japanese Zen gardens. You just need a
Not
little
quite.
rake. You know,
The front yard maybe with those little teeny little rocks, but
right.
the
That's what I'm
backyard
talking
has the
about.
big rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to get one of those little wooden rakes and go out there and
And then you turn into the engineers on lower decks and you're making a circuit before you know it.
yeah,
It's
mess
stop
it up.
working.
No, stop.
The show title, it's impossible to put down. I challenge that because a lot of people have put this show down before. So, do we need one of these?
Yeah,
Hey,
thank you.
there's your stand-up routine for the
Yeah,
night.
we're all week.
Tip your server, but make sure you make a backup first because, once you tip your server, you can't rely on it anymore.
Yeah,
Hey, that's 2 in a row.
it's better when you don't explain the joke.
I like the one that Clinton had for Statler and Waldorf. He said, "This must be a medium show."
Yeah.
Medium? Why? Because it's neither rare nor well done.
Actually, you know what I thought for our combined show next year? Because we'll have our board
Yes.
meeting and discuss that later. But I thought we all should write a stand-up routine.
That could happen.
Yeah,
I kind of liked that script reading thing that happened this time.
script reading. Oh,
We'll talk about it some other time. It's let's get into our feedback though. We got a lot of stuff on this show. Whew.
all right. Yeah.
Strap in, ladies and gentlemen. Where's our feedback music? There it is.
Letters.
Every
Did we
day,
say letters?
male person, male person.
A letter.
I love those letters. Let's find out what you got to
If you love them so much,
Oh,
why don't you
letters.
marry him?
Yeah. I'm sorry. Did they mention letters in there?
No, they did not.
Oh.
That was your imagination.
Okay.
All right, let's get into our question of the week from last time. Sorry about this. We posted it to social media a little bit late. We asked it on time on the last question. What movie has the greatest plot twist of all time? And we got one from Mad Mar via email. He says, for the biggest twist of popular movies, it has to be Luke, I am your father.
Yeah, that was a pretty good one.
I go right there. Among the niche films, I'd pick the twist from The Man from Earth. The main character is a 14,000-year-old caveman who somehow lived to present day. Oh, that's Encinitas Man, whatever it's called. Sorry.
Encino Man.
We also got a message here. We'll save that one for the end. Hold on. Let's go through the rest of these on Facebook that we can find. And Facebook says, John Miller Jr. says, 7. What's in the box?
Oh yeah. Did you ever see that
I'm gonna
movie?
have to go back and watch that. I don't know if I saw the whole movie of that.
Oh,
And I
okay.
might be mixing it up with something else.
All right. Yeah. Well, I won't spoil it here. Even
Mike
though it's
Robeson says, Signs, just kidding. The Sixth Sense was pretty good for just first watching. Yeah, I'd say that was good too. Like,
that was I didn't see it coming for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It's like, oh,
Now it's kind of like I already know.
he's dead. Spoiler alert. Okay. Does Luke and Leia being spoiler brother and sister count? That's in that same vein. And then Sweet Steve says, I would say The Others from 2001, Blade Runner director's cut, and when they insinuate that Deckard is an android as well.
Mm-hmm.
Did we ever find out if he was or not?
Trying to remember Blade Runner, the newer Blade Runner. I don't remember.
And then he says, don't forget
No.
The Sixth Sense.
Well, yeah, it kind of explains it a little bit.
Yeah, there were a couple movies that I'm trying to remember them, but where you get to the end and go, what? Didn't see that coming. So that's what we were looking for.
What? Khan was the father of David? Didn't see that twist coming.
No. No, I also have an interesting email. I'm not sure what it's about. It came to me via email. I'm throwing it in here just to give a shout out
All
to
right.
Bonnie and Hank. I have no idea who Bonnie and Hank are. It says, "Hi, Chuck. This is Bonnie Todd with an update. I don't know what this update is about. The
All
good
right.
news, the motor is finally connected. Had to
Oh.
wait for help, and it works. The old motor will be shipped, but we can't retract the arm stuck all the way out. So need to find another box that fits it.
What are they talking about?
I have no idea. This is the best part. You just have to use your imagination. There's a
Yeah.
question at the end that says, the louvers don't like exactly, maybe it's don't lie exactly flat once the new
No.
motor is in. They did before. Any hints how to make the louvers lie flat? Thanks, Bonnie and Hank. I don't know if this is some bad fishing attempt or what.
I don't know.
I'm scratching my head going, louvers, motor. I have no idea, but
Was their last name Bonnie and Hank? What? Todd.
Bonnie Todd. Yeah. You just gotta Google Bonnie and Hank Todd.
Yeah. Let's
They
see.
probably do like restoration of something. But how do you get an email like that screwed up?
Oh, I think it's Hank Todd is one of the guys from The Deadliest Catch. I don't think that's the same guy here.
Yeah, no, it's not Hank Hill either. I don't
Right.
need any propane products.
I'm not sure. Yeah, that's interesting. Huh.
Yeah.
You gonna reply to it?
I did not reply. I thought it would be fun just to kick it around, but like an old can, just kick it around. Go,
Well,
I don't
actually,
know.
when we used that service a
couldn't-
long time ago, K7.net,
Yeah.
I remember I was at work and I got a personal email, and looked, and it said it was a fax because that service would
Right.
it
was
would forward
originally a fax service. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a fax and voicemail service, and so it was a a fax for a prescription to a pharmacy in San Francisco. So I actually called them and told them, because I didn't want somebody to not get something. So anyway,
I sure hope they can find a box, because they can't retract the arm. Maybe they made a robot?
Look, you
Louvers?
you need to reply and say, send pictures, please.
We've got a motor repaired, the arm won't retract, and the louvers don't lie flat. I'm not sure I'd trust these people
Look,
even if I did hire them.
I would reply to it and ask, I need some pictures, please. Send pictures. That means I can help. There you go.
Yeah. I can't picture what you're doing. So thank you, Bonnie and Hank. This
That's
is
funny.
like a week ago. I should probably just let it go. Although I found out what happens if you don't reply to emails too quickly, you lose an opportunity. Ugh.
Say we could have been looking at pictures of something with louvers and an arm.
It's gotta be
We'll never know. Yeah.
some robotic something or other. I don't know. The curiosity isn't enough for me to even respond to that, but I thought it was fun.
Mhm.
All right, that's it for the voicemail. We'll have another question for you at the end of the show. Stick with us. And we're going to get that marching band out and march right into On This Day in History for September 21st, 2021. It's the
Whoa.
264th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar. There are 101 days remaining in 2022.
Yeah,
Okay.
and spring is tomorrow by the time you're listening to this.
That's not coincidental.
Yeah.
It was on this date in 1942 that the Boeing B-29 Superfortress made its maiden flight.
And the Northern American XB-70 Valkyrie, the world's fastest bomber, made its maiden flight also from Palmdale, California on this date in 1964.
That was a cool plane. The Discovery Channel used to have a show called Wings where they showed the X-15 and the XB-70 and how all these things came. That was a cool one.
I messed up. Actually, tomorrow, when you're listening,
Yeah, I heard
tomorrow
you
would
say
be
spring.
fall.
You never know. People could be listening to this podcast in a few months. It's not like, yes.
Yeah.
Well, spring for the Aussies and the Kiwis.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. I'll go with that.
I stopped using
Yeah,
seasons.
Michelle, that's what I was talking about.
On September 21st, 2003, the Galileo spacecraft was terminated by sending it into Jupiter's atmosphere. Wow, seems like that just happened. Happy birthday goes out on this date to French scholar and academic Guillaume Fichet, born on this date in 1433.
And Canadian explorer Louis Jollet was born 377 years ago today.
Heike Kamerlingh Onnes, the Dutch physicist and academic, Nobel Prize laureate was born on this day. Wait, they get better. Same in 1853.
All right. And French Tunisian microbiologist and academic, Nobel Prize laureate Charles Nicole was born 156 years ago today.
Hang on, people. It's coming. Born September 21st, 1866, English novelist, historian, and critic H.G. Wells.
And also English and composer and educator Gustav Holst was born on this date in 1874.
I put him in because he had that series of songs called The Planets. And we'll be talking about planets.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you listen to like that music
Mhm.
and Star Trek, like Mars and Jupiter, man, I swear Alexander Courage kind of was inspired by Gustav Holst.
Cool.
Anyway, where are we? Born September 21st, 1884, the Hungarian mathematician and theorist Dennis Koenig.
And also Chuck Jones, the American animator, producer, screenwriter. He was born 110 years ago today.
Oh my gosh. A lot of Bugs Bunny cartoons.
Oh, among others, Roadrunner, you name it.
English mathematician and academic Phyllis Nicholson was born 105 years ago today.
And John Goffman, the American physicist, chemist, biologist, was born 104 years ago today. He's celebrating, I'm sure.
American author and screenwriter Stephen King is 75.
And also born on that same date in 1950, American actor, comedian, producer, and screenwriter Bill Murray.
American engineer and astronaut Richard Hybe, born on this date in 1955.
And also turning 54 today is British mathematician Kevin Buzzard.
Wow, I think we got through that pretty easily.
I was like, where are the names you were talking about?
Yeah, no, we had something I thought I had to practice for. Maybe that was last
Here's one. Here's a tough one.
Listener birthdays: Dean Jensen on the 21st. On the 22nd, Matthew Jarks. And Brett from Wales has his birthday on the 26th of September. Happy birthday to all of you. If it's your birthday this week and we didn't call your name out, we wish you a happy birthday as well. If you'd like to get your name called out, Craig's going to put a link on the screen right there. Boom.
Oop.
For the birthday people.
There you go.
Chuckchat.com/birthday is where you can go to get your name on the calendar. We've had a few entries recently. Thank you very much. We'll get to your birthday when it's the appropriate time of year and give you a shout out. Some people are even putting odd other events in there, but trying
Chuck's
to keep
iPod.
it related.
Chuck's iPod. Yeah.
Elvis.
That's right.
Steve Wozniak. There's a few. All right. That's the way it was on this day in history for September 21st, 2022. And I think we already gave that advertisement of how to get your name on the calendar. So goodbye, marching band. I want to stay.
No.
Stay. Oh, wrong show.
Yeah. Wrong show, buddy.
All right. Into the news random button.
Good news, everyone.
Well, that was a good one to hit randomly. Lots of strange things about Saturn can be explained by a destroyed moon. So we all know.
Oh, we're going to destroy a moon?
That's no moon.
Oh, I thought they were proposing something.
Destroying the Death Star.
Right.
We're all familiar that Saturn has those beautiful rings around it. We've known this for several hundreds of years, but they're not. The speculation has always been, well, a moon broke up and created the rings. But what they couldn't figure out is why Saturn has this 25-degree wobble to its axis. Now we've got a 23.5-degree, but it's more of a precession. So it's like a top that spins around on Earth. Saturn does things a little bit differently. And they've been using models and models on models and models on models on models, lots of mathematical models. And what they believe they've come up with is Saturn is in resonance with Neptune. What that means in terms of gravity and whatnot is beyond my comprehension, but that's what they say in the article. And it's not exactly in resonance, though. It's like 99% there, which doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Well, they also know that the rings are a lot newer than the planet. Our solar system being about 4.5 billion years old, these rings are estimated around 100 million years old. So what they did is they put together some models that get it pretty darn close. They said at one time, Saturn was doing its thing, and you've got big moons like Titan and Iapetus, and there was a third moon that they called Chrysalis. And Chrysalis was, I believe, halfway to Titan Well, Titan is moving away, and that disrupted the orbit of Chrysalis. And in some models, they said in some models it went flinging out of into interplanetary space.
Mhm.
In other models, it yeah, they said in about 5% of the models, it crashed into the atmosphere of Saturn, breaking it up. Much of the material was sucked into the planet, but a lot of it became the rings. That in turn, for a while, when Chrysalis was there, it was in resonance with Neptune, and
Okay.
then when it crashed in and the rings started to form, that's when it started to get out of sync. So that's kind of where that 1% error comes from. So interesting stuff about
Mhm.
how they're using mathematics and theories and models to figure all this stuff out. Me,
Yeah, there was that one model where the Death Star came in, destroyed the moon, and took off.
that's no
So,
moon.
yeah.
That's what we said before.
But like John Miller Jr. said, if you love it, put a ring on it. There
Suddenly
you
we're in Beyonce territory, but I'm not.
That's right. Anyway, that's pretty cool. I always
Okay.
loved the look of Saturn with the rings. I thought it was
Now let
cool.
me ask you something for this next story, Craig. Do
Yes,
you watch streaming TV or any content like that with closed captions turned on?
I do from time to time. It depends on what it is. Sometimes the audio mix is a little weird, and I'm like, what did they just say?" So
A
I
lot
end up
of
turning it
times the
on, and
audio mix is a little weird.
yeah, sometimes, sometimes, a lot of times
In order to
I
try
do.
and make this show a little bit more respectable, we thought an article by the Wall Street Journal might help.
Yeah,
Which
yeah,
says
that'll
that
raise
there's
our quote or
yeah, I'm
profile.
sure we'll get somebody now. They say that in a survey of about 1,200 Americans, 70% of adult Gen Z respondents, which is ages 18 to 25, and
Mhm.
53% of the millennials, which is up to age 41, say they watch content with text most of the time. In fact,
Right.
some people say if it doesn't have text, they won't watch it for the reasons you gave. Now, in the older people like us, it's generally because of hearing impairment.
Mhm.
And uh, it's like, honey, can you turn the TV down? Well, then I can't tell what they say. Sometimes people watch it because there's an accent that they don't quite understand.
That's also a use case. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's, or the audio mix, like you said, there's a lot of
Mhm.
different reasons, but other people are starting to say we like that there because you can, you could pay attention more to what's happening if you can understand the dialogue. And I completely agree. It's like the best of both worlds of reading a book and watching TV at the same
Well,
time.
Well, sometimes it gets aggravating, especially
Why?
action movie or something. I'm trying to watch the screen. I'm not going to try and read too, but however, I do think that the survey is spot on because I actually was sat down and Harrison had turned on the closed captioning not only on Netflix but on our Hulu app. I'm like, why is this on? And I went, oh, it's because Harrison was watching. So yes, he turns it on all the time. Of course, he's a quick reader and he can like scan the line and be looking at the screen again. I'm like, huh, what? Yeah, trying to read it.
Yeah.
But yeah, he does that. So I think that's
I
pretty
have it
smart.
on almost always, always. I just think it's a much richer experience to have it there. Uh, I don't know who we'll talk more about what we're watching later in the hand me the remote section. I already put that up there.
Oh, did you? I'm sorry.
Yeah, you got to watch while you're reading.
I was looking at the article.
You
Sorry.
you can't talk it.
See, I'm trying to
Netflix is
read and see the action here. Come on.
yeah, the action on this show and the audio mix is terrible.
That's right. That's right.
Netflix has actually started to put in some interesting play-by-plays. They've got in Stranger Things there was a subtitle with the description it says like tentacles squelching wetly.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was funny. I did see some of those. Um
Somber music,
or or mumbling angrily. Yeah, or something like that. Yeah, I'm like, "What? Okay, that is kinda
they're
funny."
making it interesting. They're making it interesting.
So, yeah, it depends on what it is. Sometimes I don't care. Other times, as, Michelle said, is that, like, the music's loud and the mix is weird and, stuff like that, but,
Which I'm seeing an increasing amount of bad audio to music mixes. Like it's bed music, people. I shouldn't have,
Well,
without the captions, I would be suffering at this point. And
well, not everybody has the same sound system. So when they mix these for the theater or for a generic mix, you think they could get pretty close, but I think that sometimes it's set up for different, for a certain
I'm
setup.
watching something produced by Netflix for Netflix. You'd think that it was, either, 5.1 would be pretty standard.
By now it should be, yeah.
Okay. That's
That's what
all we got to say
that's all
about
I'm
that.
saying is I think that the mix. You know what? I'd love to talk to somebody like from Skywalker Sound or something like that and see what their thought process is when they do that kind of stuff. That'd be awesome.
We also have another article about space. Surprisingly enough, the Hubble captured two galaxies that look like they're merging, but this is where things get a little deceptive in space because they're actually quite distant apart.
Mm-hmm.
It says that a new image from the Hubble Space Telescope beautifully illustrates why astronomers need to be so careful about distance in space. Over 1 billion light years away, two galaxies float in the darkness. Beautiful, golden, snail-like spirals, seemingly caught in the act of colliding. They're named, get these names. They're beautiful. SDSS J115331
Oh man.
and LEDA 2073461.
Wow. Gives Romeo and Juliet a run for their money.
Yeah. And in spite of appearances, they're not interacting at all. One is in front of the other. I'm not sure how you actually tell that. It must be from the gravitational interactions that aren't
Yeah,
happening.
it's not like you can change your perspective and look at it
Now you
different.
stand over here and the
Yeah.
other one's on the left side.
Yeah. It does look like they're bumping into each other.
Yeah, here, I'll put a lovely picture on the screen for the people that are watching along at home. Share screen 2. Done. So, yeah, pretty cool. Yeah, we can even blow that up.
Well, in other news, I wanted to put in here that the Hubble is still serving a purpose. That's part of the reason I wanted to put this article in here.
Look, and Hubble said that the galaxies are moving away from us, but you can tell. Look, whoa,
Yeah.
whoa.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Dad humor. It's geek dad humor because he's using the screen zoom on his computer.
I love trackpad gestures.
Yeah.
Very handy when you're trying to draw attention to something on a video or a live presentation. It's like, look over here, instead of waving your cursor around crazily and like nobody sees.
I think I do like that on the Mac as the doing the screen zoom. Like you go, here, you go, all you do is say here and you hold on like control or something and zoom in. And then
just do a pinch zoom on the trackpad.
No, not that. I'm talking. That's a browser zoom. I'm talking about like a screen. But I don't think Zoom actually picks up on the computer, the OS level.
Right. It doesn't. It doesn't on most other apps.
Because I did that one day and somebody said, "What are you looking at?" I'm like, "What? Oh, it is Zoom." Oops, sorry, it didn't Zoom.
Yeah, that's why I don't really care for mice.
We got our first complaint for a night.
Getting nauseated. It's not the first time someone's been nauseated by this show.
I know.
All right, let's go on to the hacks and strange stories then. If that made you sick, jump right in. So scientists are trying to use AI to teach a robot to laugh at the right time. Not just how to laugh at the right time, but teach it to use the right laugh at the right time.
Yeah, you want ha 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 ha.
I want yeah. And then my brother left his key on the doorstep. Like, oh, wrong laugh.
I was thinking more like in the vein of Berserk, the video game. Ha 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 ha. That I don't think it had laughs in it, but that's what I imagine it'd be like.
So there's a team that's using a laughing robot called Erica, and they're putting in some conversational AI, and they say that it's important for human robot interactions, and at the bottom of the article, like one of the things I keep in mind is that the robot or algorithm will never be able to understand you.
Right.
Points out Professor Sandra Wachter of the Oxford Internet Institute. It doesn't know you. It doesn't understand you. and it doesn't understand the meaning of laughter. Well, that sounds like
Yeah.
a lot of people I hang out with.
You know what's the reason this small story caught my attention was because a while back I did some fan fiction audio for Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and it was about the origins of Marvin, the paranoid or the paranoid robot. And part of it was it went through this whole thing about the history of them building robots with personalities, with genuine people personalities. And one of them
Mhm.
was they tried to teach humor to robots, and the scientists thought they failed and just moved on. But the robots actually got the humor, but didn't think that they were funny, so they thought they failed.
So they'd understand Technorama perfectly.
Yeah.
We think it's funny.
Ha ha ha
Ha, ha, ha.
ha.
Or like the aliens on Galaxy Quest.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, that's hilarious.
All right. What was the next story up? I'm glad you asked. Well, before we go to the next story, we want to give a shout out to the chat room. We really need some shout out to the chat room music. I'll have to find some. I know, or I'll make some. Ooh, can make some. It's even better. But until we get that, if you're interested in enjoying this hilarity and laughing along with yourself at home
Right.
with
Mhm.
us, you can do so Sunday nights at 9:30 Eastern time. We'd love to have you. You can watch us on Facebook or YouTube. I wonder if anybody watches on both. Never heard
Um,
before.
I don't know about both, but I do see people on both of them. Yeah.
Just search for Technorama Podcast on either Facebook or YouTube, and you'll figure out the rest, with the subscribe and the likey thing. Never mind. Just join our page, get notified. Sunday nights at 9:30 Eastern is usually when Craig and I hang out, unless there's a personal or family commitment or business trip, whatever. But I don't see any of those in the near-term forecast. So let's the Technorama forecast for
Yeah.
October looks
It's
good.
purple.
It's
purple.
clear and sunny. Okay. Suddenly a weather map shows up behind.
I was remembering the little intro you did a long time ago about the weather for the internet. We got a router back up on
No, that was a traffic report.
traffic report. I'm sorry, it was a traffic report. Still, it doesn't matter. That was funny.
If you're taking port 22.
Yeah.
Speaking of weather, if anybody is impacted by the hurricane in the Caribbean, it's blasting Puerto Rico right now as we record
Oh
this.
yeah. Mhm.
Best wishes for all of you. Hope everybody stays safe and your families are okay. So, and if you're in the path of that, it looks like it's going to miss Florida and the East Coast. So, hopes and prayers that all works out
Yeah.
for everybody in the minimum impact. But man, Puerto Rico just
I know.
keeps hit after.
I know here, we're always like, what's going to happen? And
You're pretty far inland, though. It's rare that you get blasted.
it's rare that we get blasted, but Hugo came through in '89. That was, I know it was a long time ago, but so it is kind of rare. But
Hugo was 80. No, you're right. Hugo's 89. Gilbert was 87, 88.
yeah, and
Gilbert
it actually came right up the middle of South Carolina and right into my town. It was
well,
terrible.
Hugo went right up into Michigan and still had a lot of force.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Blew a car off the Mackinac Bridge.
I think the thing about Hugo is it was one of those anomalies that gets sped up, so it kept a lot of its strength as it.
Yeah.
Over
It's
it was
hard though when
terrible.
they get over land, though. They lose a lot of the energy.
Yeah, so
that
even
was
I
what
know
was
John Miller
surprising.
Jr. should know. He lives here. He was
Yep.
impacted. I know my dad was upset because I was driving his car. I was at my friend's house and a tree fell over on it. Sorry,
All
Dad.
right, should we go on to remember when? Okay, kill the banner.
All right, I'm killing it.
Kill the banner. We're gonna do the Happy Go Lively music. All right, in the remember when section, we have a wonderful article about. Oh, this is the name I had to rehearse. There it is. This is a woman who was behind the scenes of a Nobel Prize winner and is finally getting credit. We love these stories. We absolutely love them. Let me just read you the first paragraph.
Yeah.
Scientists have long studied, this is from phys.org, PHYS. Scientists have long studied the work of Subramanian. See, I can do that. Subaru. Anyway,
Dress car.
Chandrasekhar.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Indian-born American astrophysicist who won the Nobel Prize in 1983. But few know what his research on stellar and planetary dynamics owes a deep debt of gratitude to an almost forgotten woman, Donna de Elbert.
Yeah.
So from 1948 to 79, she worked as a computer. Now, this is before we had the electronic computers to do a lot of these
Yeah.
mathematical functions.
A quote unquote computer.
No, that's
Yeah.
what they called the people. The
I know
people who
that.
did
Yeah.
these computations were the computers, and
Right.
they named the electronic equivalent after these people.
That's
Like,
right.
hey, what should we call these numerical analysis machines?
Yeah, it's just
Well,
like
what do
on
we
the
call the people
NASA.
who-
Remember we were watching, what was
Yeah.
the movie? Oh crap.
Hidden Figures.
Yes, and they referred to everybody as computers.
Right. So very smart woman doing a lot of this stuff. The main thing she was noted for was how planets get or maintain their magnetic field, what it takes for a planet or a star to have a magnetic field, because there's all kinds of internal heat and fluid dynamics and just different things, and there's a lot of stuff that she had to figure out. Now, it was his theories, and I'm sure they worked closely together, but she really did a lot of the legwork to get this thing off the ground.
Yes, right. Well, that's what I wanted to highlight this article because of one, women in science, math, they've done a lot in the background that they don't get the credit that they deserve. And it's also one of those great stories that there's always somebody in the background that helped propel other people.
Let me find. There's somebody building on her work now. It is Suzanne Horn. So it says Albert's achievements. Before anyone else, she predicted the conditions argued to be optimal for a planet or a star to generate its own magnetic field, said the scholar. Suzanne Horn, who has spent half a decade building on Albert's work. Now, Horn and UCLA professor of Earth, Planetary, and Space Sciences, Jonathan Arno, it's AURNOW, NOU, have published a paper. I like the title of this paper. Proceedings of the Royal Society A, in which they present the newly named Albert range, which details the predictions about the range of combinations that rotation, convection, and magnetism may assume to best generate a planet-wide magnetic field. Very cool stuff, because if we didn't have a magnetic field, we wouldn't be here. So Albert passed away in 2019. At the age of 90.
Wow.
So she hopes, Horn said she hopes the work she and Arno have undertaken to refine and expand upon Albert's original predictions provide a fitting, if belated, tribute to Albert. So, very cool. And there's more details in here about the Albert range if you want to read them. You can go to show 686. 686 sounds like an Intel processor.
Yeah, well, it is. Sort of.
Was.
I should have put episode I 686.
Well, that sounds like it came from Apple.
Right.
Yeah, you can find episode 686 at chuckchat.com/technorama. Ding, ding, ding. There it is.
Yeah.
So good stuff. Thank you for finding that, Craig.
You're welcome. And
that means it's time for the patrons.
All right.
We're not playing the new version. We're playing the one we usually do. Found a song on Amazon. I plugged in some music. It said dubstep, and up came a song by Cell Dweller. What was it called? It was basically their version of Imperial.
Yeah.
You don't know the power is what they kept saying. It was a lot of fun.
Of course. Yeah.
Great song. A lot of power in that song. I said, hey, we could have a new Patreon song, but I'm sure Cell Dweller wouldn't appreciate it. Right. All right. Let's give a shout out to our patrons. Thank you very much, Alexis Duran, Amber Elstad, Amy Bowen, Abner Braverman. These are the people that give us as little as $1 a show to help keep this show running. Whether it is
or as much as $600 a show. I'm just kidding. Everybody does that.
Nobody does that. Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, we're cheap, but
maybe we could talk Tim Cook from Apple into that. Ben Vaughn, Brian Brown, Chris Martinez, Chris MC, Dandyman Coyer, Dean Jensen. Thank you, Denise Inglis and Gary Lindros. Thank you, John Clifford, John Noble, Yorga Schrauen, Crazy Joe Adventures, Kyle Nishioka. Thank you, Leon, Mark Kilfoyle. A lot of these people have been donating for years and years. Some have just showed up. Matt Baum, Mike Wills. One of those people that just showed up is our newest patron, Paul Mackey. I have a note from him in just a moment. So thank you, Paul Mackey, for joining the club. Saturday Morning Media, Stephen Weshy, Steve Therian, Steve Cody, Steve London, and Tim Cook. Would you like to hear the note from Paul?
Yes.
He says, I'm an extreme late adopter. Well, not that late. I mean, we only started this about 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago or so. As far as listening to podcasts goes, to this podcast. Okay, so he just joined our podcast. But after hearing at least 3 RBT voice cameos in an episode, I figured this must be what the cool kids are doing. Or maybe it was over the course of 2 episodes. I definitely heard you say Menengay, Mangan, Brian Brown, and Amy Bowen during the back issues from August I listened to. So yes, all these people
listen
are
back even further.
The short story is I bought the house from Menengay.
Right. And Brian Brown lived there.
Brian Brown lived in our guest house for about a year and change. Well, his was getting repaired.
And
we see Amy.
Buddy.
Amy's our buddy. We see her at Dragon Con. And Jack comes over from time to time. So still keep in touch with a lot.
It's about time for him to make an appearance, I think.
It is. We should get him on the show again soon. I was just thinking last week, we haven't had a guest in a while, so we can definitely do that. If you want to be a patron, for the viewers, it's on the screen. But if you're listening, let me tell you what it says. Patreon.com/Technorama podcast. You can do what Paul did. Sign up as little as $1 a show. We'll make sure you get your name on the show. You get a special episode, which is our kind of a backstage pass. And occasionally we'll get you a postcard or something else cool.
That's right.
We used up all the music.
And all the postcards. We just sent them all out. So.
We use the music on the postcard. That's not how it goes.
Yeah.
So, thank you, everybody. Patreon.com/Technorama postcard. Technorama postcard.
What?
Technorama podcast.
Oh, boy.
Oh, that's part of my topic that I've got.
Somebody's ready to start the work week.
For the Patreon show, I've got I got a bullet item for that I want to talk about on that. Let's go on to Pass Me the Remote. I've got a couple of shows that I want to tell you about. So I think it's this blue one. Yep, that's it.
Here we go.
Michelle says, great minds. I remember a friend of mine about 30 years ago said, you know, when she heard the phrase, great minds think alike, she responded, and I still use this to this day. She says, but simple minds have obvious thoughts.
Yeah. I know.
That's more along the lines of
let's start a podcast. Okay.
What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah. I didn't really watch much this week, so it's all you, Chuck. Except for continuing to watch She-Hulk. Continuing to watch Lower Decks.
Yep.
We just did a review for 3 of them in the last Topic is Trek show.
Over at the topicistrek.com.
Yeah. I will say today I did watch I had not watched it before. I'm not a huge Tom Cruise fan. I watched Jack Reacher, which I watched the show on Amazon Prime about Jack Reacher, which I think was much better than the movie. But it was all right. You know, Jack Reacher with Tom Cruise. He's actually Tom Cruise is a much smaller guy than the character. Than Jack Reacher's character is. Yes. So in the show, he is a mountain of a guy. Tom Cruise, not so much.
Well, if you use the right camera angle, you're okay. Well, so I think I mentioned last week that I watched a couple episodes of Untold. There was The Girlfriend Who Didn't Exist.
Yep.
Which is a story about Manti Te'o, the football player who got catfished. Only it was like 2009 when nobody knew what catfishing was, and it messed with his career, and he's the unfortunate victim of this. There's another one called Operation Flagrant Foul about a corrupt referee in the NBA. I love these stories because I somehow missed a lot of this stuff because I wasn't quite in the right lane of that highway at the right time, if you will.
Right.
So from a historical perspective, it's fun to watch. I'm sure everybody remembers, you know, when Bruce Jenner came out as Caitlyn Jenner around 2015, there's the whole story. I mean, she tells her story. And in many of these cases, it's interesting because there were a couple of them. They said, look, if it weren't for, Bruce Jenner grappling with these internal questions of identity, he probably wouldn't have gone on to be the Olympic decathlete that he was. which seems, kind of backwards, but
Uh-huh.
sports was his escape. That's what he threw
Oh,
himself into to escape
okay.
from, and it was like, wow, okay, cool. Uh, so there's one called Malice at the Palace, which is about the Pistons Pacers game in
I just like
2004.
the title.
Yeah. There's the last one that I watched was The Rise and Fall of And One, which was a brand that started with T-shirts. They tried to get into shoes, but their first attempt, they signed a 10-year contract with this brand new rookie hire out of high school
Uh-huh.
to wear their shoes, and he goes up and makes this scoring attempt, gets knocked down, and breaks his ankle wearing their shoes. They're like, we're
Ah,
so screwed because they were
oh
going to
no.
go up against Nike because they were doing really good in the
Right.
trash talking T-shirt department. They made these T-shirts that had, trash talking like, "Yeah, you're really that bad."
Right. Wow.
And they caught on. It was really popular in the 90s. Well, they went back to the drawing board and they said, "Hey, what can we do that Nike isn't?" And they discovered street ball, which is, basketball played in the local parks and whatnot. And they
Sure.
noticed there were some celebrities emerging from this.
Mhm.
So they took these celebrities and they started building a brand around that. And they made these mixtapes, VHS mixtapes, started a tour. These
Uh-huh.
people went out. They're kind of like the Harlem Globetrotters in a strange, different way. They were very talented. They went on scouting missions around the country and got new talent. And unfortunately, the brand uh, started to falter. They got back into shoes and they were doing pretty good. But then they had some issues. I'm not going to ruin it for you. Interesting stuff though. It's like, wow, I completely missed I vaguely remember the brand And One.
Right.
Uh, but you know, Crime and Penalties was what was the one about the hockey game? Was that it was Crime and Penalties.
Okay.
Uh, this guy creates UHL, which is the teams that are right underneath the NHL.
Mhm.
Uh, he created a whole team. He put his 17-year-old son in charge of being the manager of this team, and the son, credit to him, he pulled it together and he got this team. But they were just thugs. I mean, I went to a fight and a hockey game broke out. It was mostly
Right.
fighting at this, and that's how
Right.
they intimidated. It was the was it Davenport, Connecticut? Like the
Mhm.
Davenport Trashers was the name of the team.
Oh, well, that's a
And they
perfect
were
name for
good.
it.
They were good. They beat everybody, but they beat them like
They
2 or
literally
3
beat them.
They literally beat every team. Yeah. It was a fun show to watch, and you're like, "What in the world? How can this even happen?" And then
Right.
you find out that, you know, the guy who, built this team and gave it to his son is associated with the mob. So it's like
Right.
a lot of these are like,
Wow.
"Yep, it's a great story. It's a great story. Waiting for the shoe to drop.
Yeah.
Boom, there it is."
Is that a twist? Is that a twist of the story? Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, they're long shows. Some of these are two-parters, so you're gonna have to invest some time in this.
Mhm.
Hour and 10 is not uncommon for a single episode of these,
Really? Okay.
but they are really I found them very fascinating. Just from a historical perspective, like, where was I when this was happening? Oh yeah, I was raising a family
Oh,
and
yeah.
focusing on, where I was in my career at that time. So I wasn't big into basketball. Oh, there's a tennis story, wonderful tennis story about, I can't remember what the name of that one was. Breaking Point. Two guys that they wanted to recharge. They realized that, the McEnroe, Andre Agassi days were kind of passing them by, and the National Tennis League, the UT, I forget what the
Right.
tennis league that
Yeah.
recruits these people, they were out finding talent, and they found these two guys, and one was, clearly superior to the other. So they kind of made the other one his sparring partner, if you will. And they, to the point where they even lived together in Andy's home, and
Right.
he's like, "Yes,
Okay.
Mr. Robertson," or whatever his name was.
Mhm.
A lot of fun stories in there, and then towards the end, you see, Marty Fish is the guy who was kinda second fiddle for a while. He finally came into his own at the age of 30, which is really late in somebody's career. Uh, but,
Wait.
kudos to him for turning it
I
around.
hope
But
not.
just like the Caitlyn Jenner story in there.
Mhm.
No, for a professional athlete, 30 is
Oh,
old.
yeah. I know. I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Uh, but just like the Caitlyn Jenner story, it's like, wow, there is a true hero story in here. It's
Mhm.
amazing. Uh, it was another one of those, hey, I don't want to tell people this because if I do, it could be bad for my career and my whole image could be shot. And then when they do turn around and do this thing, like Caitlin coming out, it's like everybody goes, yay, thank you for being brave. And other people look up to you. So there's a couple of stories in there that are like practically tearjerkers in there. So great stuff. It's called Untold on Netflix. There's a series of like 8 or 10 of them. And then I did a rewatch on a show. I may have mentioned this. I don't know if we had the segment in the show at the time. It's called Rise of Empires. Ottoman. It's about the Ottoman Empire.
Right.
And the young king in the Ottoman Empire who says, I'm going to take Constantinople away from Emperor Constantine. Because at that time, the Roman Empire in 14, whatever it was a shadow of itself. They had the Eastern Empire was basically Constantinople, and the Western Empire was centered around Venice. They had this split, the schism, whatever it was. And Constantinople is heavily fortified, like layers of walls and moat and just impenetrable. Many, many times people tried to sack it, turned back. Even this guy's father tried to do that and he failed. And he said, not me, I'm going to do it. And it's an 8-part series. I forgot what it was.
Really?
But good, again, from a historical standpoint, like, wow, it could have gone either way at any point.
And you're going, wow, where was I? Oh, that's right. I was raising a family, and I was
not in the 1400s. I wasn't. No. But Rise of Empires, Ottoman. I'd like to see.
Hey, we're not saying you're old, Chuck, but
I'd like to see other empire shows. Just historical stuff. Again, as I get older, I get more fascinated with history. Seems to make more sense. And,
well, you've seen everything else. Might as well look back and focus on the history, right?
Yeah. How does this relate to today? Certainly a lot. Yeah. A lot of it relates to today. All right. That's what we have for Pass the Remote. We do have one question of the week. Nothing in the Geek Library or Media Corner this week.
Nope.
So we are going to wrap it up soon. The question of the week is, what villain was terrifying because they were right? Batman.
Yeah, that's it.
He wasn't a villain, though. He was a vigilante.
No.
That would be the Joker then. The Joker was right.
I don't think there's as many villains that that thought they were right. But I'm sorry, let me back up. I think in the history of films and all that kind of stuff, most of the villains you see are evil for evil's sake. But there's some that are not, and they think they're doing the right thing, but they're not necessarily evil. And I think some of those are the best. Thanos, exactly, is a great example.
When you hear the argument, you're like, okay, first, you can't kill half the things in the universe. And then you go, well, wait, he's got a point. We're kind of overpopulating everything. So
the only time he really looked like he was exacting any revenge is when
Michelle said the same thing.
Yeah. In Endgame, when there was that kind of final battle, I think he was getting frustrated because he can't do the thing he wants to do. And that's when he was getting really angry. But otherwise, he was just trying to do what he thought was right.
Yeah.
See, Thanos could have gotten rid of half of COVID.
The road to hell is paved with good intentions.
That's right. Anyway.
Okay, that's our question. We'll post it on social media again next week. What villain was terrifying because they were right? John Miller Jr. said Killmonger from the Black Panther.
Mm-hmm. I don't know about terrifying, but yeah, he was.
John Miller Jr.'s got a half glass empty, the glass is half full thing. He says, why couldn't Thanos just have doubled the resources in the universe?
Yeah. Yeah, let's go the other way.
Yeah, I'm going to make your planet bigger. No, that would have affected gravity and everybody would have had a hard time.
Yeah, I don't think Killmonger was necessarily terrifying, but he was also another one you go, okay, he's got a point,
Yeah. Those are fun. I like it when the writers, well-written villains like that.
Yeah, give him some dimension.
That wasn't my song. Okay. Never mind. Let's go on to the end of the show then. Play the music. There it is. Hey, want to thank everybody for joining us on live streams, Facebook and or YouTube. We do the show Sundays at 9:30 p.m. Want to see you there. If you want to get in touch with us, you've got a question, your thoughts on a villain well written, 707-530-2428. Banner time, Craig. 707-530-2428.
No,
You
Bruce
can
Banner
also
was not evil. Oh, you
text-
mean that banner? Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
text us on that line as well if you choose. Email us, technorama@chuckchat.com. We'd love to hear from you. Lots of different ways to get in touch with us on the web, on our website, Facebook, YouTube. You know how. Thank you once again for all the great stories, Craig, for finding those for us.
My pleasure.
Thank you, everybody who joined us. And until next time, everybody stay safe. Take care. Craig, give us a binary high five.
All right. 101, everybody. Thank
Bye.
you.
Audio recording has ceased. This concludes our broadcast day.
Oh.
Dun, 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 dun. Okay. Like the old days. Right.
Yeah. That's when that's the extra cue to wake up and go to bed. Ugh. How many times have you woken up to the static on the TV back in the day?
Oh, quite a few.
Yeah.
Quite a few.
Kind of miss those days.
I think we had to start a streaming channel like that.
Yeah, just static.
You watch one show and then it goes to the static. And then you see the thing go down to like the dot.
Yeah.
Because the old tube TV is cooling down.
Yeah. I remember we had an old Motorola TV, and I remember it messed up. And like the vertical hold, I think it broke, and it was just a line. You know, you could see action was going on that line, but it was just a line across the middle of the screen. That was it.
Wow, we got some praise from the people who are hanging
look.
out with us.
Michelle's thinking about moving down to the Carolinas. You should come on down. It's great.
No, because Craig's going to be in Phoenix by that time to get rid of his allergies.
Nah.
NYC is becoming harder and harder. I can believe that.
I bet so. Yeah, I love the mountains. The mountain area of North Carolina or South Carolina's got some great spots too.
Love little green frogs.
I'm sure winter is not one of the things that you love up there in New York City.
No. All right, we're going to stop our video streaming now, and we're going to record the audio part for our patrons. So thank you very much, everybody, for hanging out with us. It's been a lot of fun, and we will talk to you again 1 week.
That's right.
Bye.